I'd definitely say the FMTV series handles a lot better than the old 5-ton deuce and a half.
The steering is a lot more responsive. You can adjust quickly on any terrain.
The FMTV is very spacious compared to the old deuce and a half. It's a lot more accessible.
I much rather prefer the FMTV due to better handling, better performance, better responsiveness.
Very easy to drive. They're very simple, very easy. There's no negotiating. It pretty much drives like a car.
It definitely has enough horsepower. I mean, you can haul just about anything with one of those.
Less strenuous on the body driving an FMTV than it was for the old trucks.
A lot more comfortable than the deuce and a half were.
FMTV is a lot more comfortable to drive. It's a lot easier to see out of them, so you can judge corners a lot better.
Being able to lower your tire pressure and inflate it depending on the terrain gives you a lot better grip on loose terrain.
So I think the FMTV allows you to, accomplish your mission much quicker. I think the FMTV allows you to accomplish your mission much quicker.
Improve ride and handling. Increased power. More comfort. Easy to drive. Higher ground clearance. Increased safety. These are some of the words used by drivers of the FMTV to describe their vehicles. These attributes add up to form a superior vehicle, rugged, dependable, and safe. But as good as the FMTV is, neglecting basic PMCS or ignoring standard safety procedures could put you in a catastrophic situation.
I guess I wasn't paying much attention. Next thing I knew, we were off the road in a ditch.
The FMTV has a better power range as far as I'm concerned. It pulls better. The automatic transmission is pretty much unique. There's no clutching involved. You have a greater visibility. It's pretty much all the way around. The older series, it's very limited. The FMTV by far is a better driving and riding vehicle.
Compared to its predecessors, the FMTV is a far superior vehicle. Its assets include higher ground clearance, tighter turning radius, more power, smoother ride, and greater visibility.
The handling characteristics of the FMTV truck compared to the 939 and the M35A2 is a completely different truck. You can turn the wheel maybe one-handed with the FMTV truck. It takes you two-handed to turn the M35A2.
The FMTV vehicles have much better gauges as far as the driver's accessibility and ease to look at the gauges. The mirrors are easier to adjust, the seat rides better.
While these attributes make the FMTV a superior performer, they can also get you into trouble. These increased capabilities can translate into operators driving at higher speeds in many situations when inappropriate to do so. With the increased performance of the FMTV comes the responsibility of the drivers to treat these vehicles with caution and respect.
The FMTV truck can get you in trouble real quick by overcompensating on your steering, can get you into a skid real quick, tight turning radiuses on it, and you didn't have the tight turning radiuses on the M35 and the 939 Series 5-ton.
The advantages of performing proper PMCS is that you won't have to walk. If you don't check the oil, you don't take care of your vehicle, it won't take care of you.
Before you raise the cab to check engine fluid levels, make sure all loose objects have been removed from the cab. An unsecured wrench or M16 could hit the windshield, damaging or breaking it. Also, make sure no one is standing directly in the path of the cab as it is raised.
Prior to operation of the LMTV, there are a few checks you need to make. You want to check all your air distribution hoses. Make sure the clamps are tight and that it has a little bit of play to allow for closing of the cab. Also check your engine around the seals to make sure there's no leakage. Upon reaching this side, there are a few checks you need to make over here. Make sure you check your boots that lead to your throttle. Make sure the boots are not torn. Make sure that you also check all hoses leading in. Make sure for the same things you did on the other side, the clamps and a little bit of play. You also want to check your fan belts, make sure they're not frayed or torn, and check your fan to make sure it's not broken in any way. You also want to check your engine oil level here. Make sure there are proper levels in there. Check your water fuel separator, make sure there's no water in the bottom of the canister. Check your coolant level, make sure it is between the top of this and the middle of this. Next, you want to check your transmission dipstick, make sure the proper level. You can only check that after it's been running. You'll want to check your hydraulic fluid bay to make sure there's no leakage and that the proper amount of fluid is inside.
Check your windshield for any damage. Then, look to see if the windshield wiper blades are in good condition. Make sure your headlights, tail lights, and running lights are all operational. And double check that your load is secure. Before moving out, put on your safety belt, check your gauges, and adjust the mirrors if needed. Finally, as you're moving out, remember to use a ground guide.
Ensure the safety of the truck, the driver, passengers, troops if you're carrying them, because if you overlook something on your PMCS, you could cause damage to the truck, you or your passengers.
We're going to ascend the hill behind me, which is a 29% grade. It's fairly dry. I would recommend to lock the transfer in the mode, second gear. That way you have plenty of power at all times. And descending the hill, I would also recommend the mode position. Come down in second to third gear. That way if you was to break traction and begin to slide, you could match the fuel pedal and keep the truck up with the slide. If you're sliding down the hill, you do not want to lock the brakes up. You have no control. You must keep all the tires spinning. That way you can negotiate with your fuel pedal and your steering wheel. You want to keep light pressure on the brake pedal. You do not want to pump the pedal because you'll run out of air. Therefore, the system will lock up and you'll lose total control of the vehicle.
Before going on any steep incline, you need to make sure that your transmission mode is active, such as all-wheel drive, so that when you're going either on or off the slope, or when you get to the top of it, that if you lose traction with one of the wheels, the other ones you already have them engaged, so you don't get in trouble.
Depending on the incline. Normal inclines, small hills, you can drive your FMTV truck in a normal setting in your transmission. They have 1 through 7 gears. If you get to a higher incline, like your 40% or 60%, you would have to change into a mode to ensure that you have an all-wheel drive, lower your transmission setting to maybe third, second, or first gear, depending on this 60% slope, 40% slope, and just take the hill slowly.
While traveling cross-country, it's possible you may encounter a hill which is too steep to climb. If your wheels start to slip and the vehicle begins to slide, your safest option is to perform a back-down maneuver.
A back-down procedure on an incline is that the first thing you need is a ground guide. If you don't have a ground guide, then you need to get out of the truck, inspect the area behind you that you're backing down to ensure that there's nothing that's going to hurt you or the truck. And back down, keeping a steady pressure on the brake, and try to keep the truck in line as much as possible without making any sharp turns. If you make any sharp turns, you're going to jackknife the truck and a possible rollover will happen.